You've been lied to about fat. The truth could save your heart. Did you know some type of fat actually protects your heart? But for decades, we were told that fat is the enemy, that eating butter, eggs, and even avocados would clog our arteries and lead to heart disease. But what if I told you that was completely wrong? In fact, some fats protect your heart and may even lower your risk of heart disease. But here's the problem. Most people are eating the wrong fats, the kind that silently damage your arteries every single day. So which fats should you eat and which ones should you avoid? That's what we're going to address on this video. And stick with me, because by the end of the video, you'll know exactly what to put in your plate to protect your heart for life. And I will actually tell you what I do regarding fats. Let's look at the big fat lie. What happened? We have to go back to the 50s. The heart disease was on the rise, and researchers was looking for answers. And a scientist, Dr. Ansel Keys at the University of Minnesota, led a study called the 7 Countries Study. And the study was published in 1970, although the study began actually in 1958. And Dr. Ansel Keys looked at 7 countries, the US, some European countries, and Japan. They looked at 12,000 plus men, and they found a correlation between heart disease and high cholesterol and saturated fats. And they compared with Italy, Greece, they have a lower incidence of heart disease. So this was the landmark study that found that saturated fat intake was strongly correlated with high cholesterol levels and increased heart disease risk. There's another very important study that we have to mention to understand what happened. It's called the Minnesota Coronary Experiment. The experiment was conducted from 1968 to 73, but the full results were not published until 2 decades later. This was done by Dr. Ivan France and Dr. Ansel Keys. They tested whether replacing saturated fats with vegetable oils, corn oil, and corn oil margarine will have an impact on heart disease. This was a well-conducted study involving over 9,000 participants. It was done in the mental hospitals and nursing homes in Minnesota. They gave everybody the same percentage of fats, the same percentage of carbs, the same percentage of proteins. The only thing they did was replace the saturated fat with vegetable oils, in particularly corn oil and corn oil margarine. And they ran the study for 5 years. And on the control group, they got the standard American diet. They got saturated fats from animal fats, from meat, dairy products, butter, and lard. And what they found is that the group on the corn oil had lower cholesterol, but did not have lower incidence of heart disease. And there was a reanalysis in 2016 that showed in the older people, the people on the corn oil had actually a higher mortality. So what's the explanation? The explanation is not vegetable oils are created equal, and corn oil and soybean oil, for instance, have very high levels of omega-6 and very little of omega-3s. And omega-6 in high quantities are inflammatory, and they oxidize LDL, increase inflammation, and increase heart disease. Now, let's ask the question, are saturated fats safe for heart disease? This topic is still debated, and the traditional view followed by American Heart Association, the World Health Organization, is the high saturated fats raises the so-called the bad cholesterol, the LDL, and is linked to heart disease. Many organizations still recommend limiting saturated fats and replacing with unsaturated fats, omega-3s, not the omega-6 heavy oils. So I would say that saturated fats is not as harmful as once thought, but replacing them with the right fats, the olive oil, avocado oil, the nuts and seeds, and fatty fish rich in omega-3s are the best. And there's no doubt the refined carbs and the sugar-sweetened beverage are likely even worse than the saturated fats for heart disease. Let's look at fats, the good, the bad, and the villains. Let's start with the villains. Everybody agrees that trans fats that were found in margarines and frozen pizzas and pastries are not healthy. And in fact, the trans fats have been abolished in the United States in 2021, abolished also in Canada and limited in European countries, but they're still available in many parts of the world. The trans fats were also known as partially hydrogenated oils, for instance. The same thing. In fast foods, when they reuse vegetable oils, they could actually generate trans fats as well. Let's talk about the shocking truth about cholesterol. Based on the same studies, the conclusion that high cholesterol from animal products were the only risk factor for heart disease, or at least one of the most important ones. We know now that is not the case. In fact, there is no correlation between cholesterol that you eat and the cholesterol level in your blood. And we know that healthy fats actually improve your cholesterol and lower your triglycerides as well. And to learn more about cholesterol, watch this video on cholesterol, Cutting Through the Confusion. I'll put a link above and on the description below. What are the healthiest fats? We have the mono and polyunsaturated fats, the extra virgin olive oil, the avocado oil, the oils found in fatty fish and salmon, mackerel, sardines, and trout, and all fats found in the nuts and seeds as well. Now you know which fats to avoid, which fats to embrace. But here's one thing that we need to know. Fat is still fat. Even the good ones, they pack 9 calories per gram, which means if you're trying to lose weight, if you're overweight, if you're obese, you can't go overboard. Tell me in the comments, what's your favorite healthy fat? I'd love to hear from you. What do I do about fats? I get my fats from fatty fish, from nuts and seeds. I prefer to eat olives that I love instead of having the olive oil. Or I prefer avocados instead of avocado oil. And to learn more how to prevent a heart attack, watch this video, Can Jane unclog her arteries with diet after a heart attack? I'll put a link above and on the description below. And remember, your health, your most precious asset. Take control. See you next video.